When कब प्रयोग अंग्रेजी में मुख्य रूप से समय टाइम पूछने के लिए किया जाता है। When do you wake up? When do you go to bed? When do you go to school office? When do you eat breakfast? When do you eat lunch? When do you eat dinner? When do you study English? When do you exercise? When do you feel fresh? When do you feel tired? When do you use your mobile most? When do you watch TV? When do you read books? When do you meet your friends? When do you go for a walk? When do you feel happy? When do you feel angry? When do you feel bored? When do you feel confident? When do you feel nervous? When do you drink tea coffee? When do you take a bath? When do you clean your room? When do you relax? When do you sleep deeply? Past tense. When did you wake up yesterday? When did you go to bed last night? When did you start learning English? When did you join this class? When did you last travel? When did you last meet your friend? When did you buy your mobile? When did you feel proud? When did you feel sad? When did you feel happy last time? When did you last watch a movie? When did you last study seriously? When did you last help someone? When did you last feel confident? When did you face a problem? When did you solve it? When did you last laugh a lot? When did you last cry? When did you last make a mistake? When did you learn something new? Future tense. When will you wake up tomorrow? When will you go to sleep tonight? When will you study English today? When will you finish your work? When will you meet your friend? When will you call your parents? When will you start exercising? When will you stop wasting time? When will you improve your English? When will you take a break? When will you go on a trip? When will you achieve your goal? When will you get success? When will you feel confident? When will you buy a new phone? When will you help others? When will you change your routine? When will you join a job business? When will you complete this course? When will you start a new habit? Modal bata conditional. When can we start the class? When can you speak English confidently? When should we practice English? When should students study? When must we reach there? When may the result come? When could the problem start? When would you like to travel? When would you take a break? When should I call you? When can I meet you? When should we stop talking? When might it rain? When would you feel happy? When should we avoid mistakes? When must we be careful? When could you help me? When would you start learning? When should beginners speak English? When can success come? Conversation bata opinion. When is the best time to study? When is the best time to exercise? When is the right age to learn English? When is success possible? When is failure useful? When is time most valuable? When do people give up? When do people succeed? When do students feel pressure? When do you feel most confident? When do you feel motivated? When do you feel relaxed? When do you feel stressed? When do dreams come true? When do you feel proud of yourself? We